It went in right here and stopped. Like, it's weird. It went in, hit my bone, and then stopped right there. You can literally see the bullet.
Been busted up, like my whole head been busted up. I had brain hemorrhages, concussions. I've been stabbed 7 times, punctured my lung, ICU for two and a half months. I had to learn how to eat and walk again.
I've been shot 4 times, been stabbed twice. I got 4 bottles broken over my head. I've been beat with brass knuckles.
Split my eye and put my tooth through my lip.
My memory is crazy. My focus is my orientation. Like I've been out in the world for 5 years, and like I still don't know where I'm at sometimes. You know what I mean?
It wasn't until, I probably stopped counting like at 21 dead homies. All my right-hand men were getting locked up, and it was like, yo, I got 1 dead homie over here. Let me go avenge the dead homie or whatever. And then it's like all of a sudden I started having a heart, just started seeing so many people that I hurt, and it just someone right about that, right? So That's why I started wanting to make a change.
Something ain't right. Something ain't right. I said something. Yeah, I said something. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. What?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Something Ain't Right. And as you know, we are continuing to put this show out because there is a lot of things that ain't right, even amongst the Christians. And we talk about that here on Somethin Ain't Right Podcast. So thank y'all for joining us. Thank y'all for all the views, the likes, the subscribes, the shares. We truly appreciate you taking the time to watch the show. I'm your host, Trey Nine, and I got my awesome co-host with me today. Who we got?
Jessica. Hey, y'all. Welcome back.
Well, Whiteout. We have a packed house today. We've never had an episode with this many people in the studio, but I want to introduce my guests and tell y'all briefly. We are going to get into some real conversation. I'm so green on this conversation. I'm going to tell all y'all out there that watch this show that you have to forgive us if we misspeak, if we say something that we shouldn't have said, because we're going to do an episode on gangs, right? And we're going to talk about the in and outs of gangs. But we're not here to make gangs look bad, and we're not here to try to make them look good. We just want to have a conversation to try to understand some things, because we do a lot of ministry in the streets. We do a lot of ministry in prisons, and there's a lot of men and women that are a part of our ministry that were a part of gangs. And so I know about redemption of individuals who were a part of gangs, and many of them are some of the best missionaries we have. And so I asked a few of my brothers if they would be able to come in and just help us to get a little more educated and have a conversation, because they were a part of a gang or STG, and we'll go into what that is in a minute, at some time. And so, fellas, I just want you to introduce yourself to the people who are watching. Just give us your name and maybe a little bit about your family, who's in your family, if you got wife, kids, things like that, and how long you've been following Jesus.
What's going on, y'all? My name is Scar Bergs. That's what I go by now in the gang life. I used to go by Mr. O. I got a wife, 3 kids, southwest side of Houston. Now we're getting it down for Christ, man. Ain't no more gang life. Christ gang, Christ gang.
All right.
Mr. 211, the Godfella. I'm from El Paso, Texas, and I'm married to my beautiful wife, Annabelle, a.k.a. Bella. We have a baby on the way. She's 6.5 months pregnant, so lift that up in prayers. My first baby with her. And so, part of an STG and Texas Department of Criminal Justice, and grew up there since I was 17, did about 14 years in total. And, I'm ready to talk a little bit about what ain't right, you know what I'm saying?
Minister. All right. I like that.
What up? It's Eric James, formerly known as The Servant. I got 3 kids from my first wife. I'm engaged to be married now. Happy, doing good, man. Not too many complaints.
I appreciate y'all coming out, man. I know this is a touchy subject. Everybody wouldn't be willing to do this, but I do appreciate y'all being willing to discuss it. And so, First of all, this isn't about determining your past and how hard you went in the streets or whether you're certified or you ranked or any of that. This is really just about getting understanding. And so the first thing I want to know is what gang or STG were you a part of, and what did you think it stood for, or what does it stand for even today? Because I know I've heard a lot about gangs, and they initially started out, as something positive, even for the community. And then maybe over time things changed, right? But I just want to understand the gang that you were a part of, or the STG that you were a part of, and what you thought it meant, and what, even what it means today, if you can share that.
All right, so STG is a security threat group, and that's for confirmed gang members, pretty much what you see with like Mexican Mafia, Texas Syndicate, Barrio Azteca, Mandingo Warriors, and things like that. So pretty much you're confirmed in the state and as a security threat group, basically organized crime.
Okay. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, for sure.
So tell us individually what you were a part of and what it represented before you joined.
I was part of a pretty big gang now that's still going hard. La Primera. It originated in California and just migrated around the USA. And for me, at the beginning, it wasn't really about the gang. It was more about my homeboys and the ones I rode for. And just went hard for them. Didn't really look at the colors at a point in time. But then it became about the colors, and that's where it went wrong.
Is it a street gang or a prison gang?
It is a street gang. And it goes into the penitentiary as well. But in there, you're forced to be part of a different kind of gang, a prison gang.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. So I got confirmed at age 17 as a Barrio Azteca gang member at the El Paso County Jail. And then I got out, got confirmed in the streets as a Barrio Azteca gang member, and then ended up back in prison, and then got confirmed again as a Barrio Azteca gang member. Basically, I started off as a 187 was with my street gang. So once you hit the county, it becomes a whole bunch of different gangs together. So then it falls under another bigger gang, which is Barrio Azteca, which is what my family is all involved in. I still got family that's still involved in that. Basically, that's my culture, where I grew up. I always heard about them being like, the power and their reputation. So that's what I looked up to. That was like, man, like the movie Goodfellas, right? I was very attracted to the money, the power, the women, and that's how I got involved.
Okay.
I was a part of the Hoovers, Five Deuce Hoovers originally, and then Foreign Park Crip started from that. We got pretty plugged in with people from Cali, and they were just urging us to start our own set. Like, it was cool with us repping Five Deuce Hoover, which 52nd and Hoover Street is actually a place in Cali. From 51st on down, they call it 51st and West Side Verge. You got Vermont Street, Halldale, all these back streets. And so they were just encouraging us to start our own, because as far as cripping in Houston, Foreign Park was like, when you say that name, it's established. You already know what's coming with it, stiff cripping. So they basically was like, man, y'all should start your own set. So from that, we went from Hoovers to Foreign Park Crips to 10s. So now it's 10s because we represent 10-110 Foreign Park. So it's just 10s. So that's kind of how it evolved into. And originally when I got down with, I've been cripping since I was like 14, but there was a lot of unorganized gangbanging. And as far as on the Southwest in A-Leaf, Foreign Park was the most established and the most organized. So one of my big homies, he was kind of cool with them. We wasn't really messing with Foreign Park because they turned over. So when it first happened in 08, 09, I wasn't really feeling switching over. But I had that much love and respect for my big homie to when he said, hey, y'all, this the move we gonna make, this we gonna do. And so I trusted him. So I became Foreign Park Crippin'. So that's really what drew me into Crippin'. Like, man, these dudes are Brotherhood, dang. Like, I heard a lot of stories about loyalty and all this other stuff. So that's what kind of appealed me to the lifestyle.
So I just want to be clear so I don't get in any trouble by any of these gangs that y'all were a part of. This is public information, maybe
This
on
is public
Wikipedia,
information, yes.
stuff like that.
This is
We ain't
well
trying to
known.
get nobody
It's not a
in
secret.
trouble.
It's not a secret.
I mean, there's a lot of guys in prison that are gangbanging that I speak to when I go in, and, you know, just good people to me. I mean, I know that when it comes time for what they got to do, they wouldn't be so good. But for me, it's just good to have an understanding of, you know, how these gangs were established. So appreciate y'all sharing that.
Yeah.
So my question is, how serious were your gangs about the memberships? Like, could anybody join? What was the process?
Yeah,
We
you just
can
fill
start
out a
with
membership form, application,
Yeah.
like
How's that work?
No,
The title.
gangs.gov.
Gangs that good. Just go ahead and apply.
You submitted a resume.
Submit an application and we go through it. No,
I want to. I want to answer this one. So it's crazy. Whenever I first went to Foreign Park, you would think that those guys would be embracing you, but when I first went to the compound on Sugar Branch, they was looking at me crazy. Like, who is this dude? Like, it wasn't really like the love you would expect. Like when I got down with Hoover, it was a lot of like brotherhood. We like hanging together, we smoking together, we chilling together. But with Foreign Park, it was like, okay, what can you do from Foreign Park? Like, we already established, but what you gonna do that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't really, so that kind of like, I don't know, it was weird to me. Like, it was more so like, we're pushing the line on everything, and we just need you to push the line. That's it.
so how did you officially
Everybody would like, so they wasn't just accepting anybody. You kind of like, even if somebody said, okay, they're under me, you still had to prove yourself. It still wasn't like, okay, he just, because people had their own groups inside the gang.
Okay.
And that kind of was the dismantlement of the gang long term, but I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, but I mean, does every gang have to have, or STG have to have an initiation of some sort, or is it just you got to be a part
Oh,
of
yeah,
a
I
family?
definitely got beat up by 6 people.
You gotta
Okay.
get selected. You gotta put in work to where they're like, we're gonna bring them in.
as far as La Primera goes, there's a very hard wall to get past it. I mean, you know that you couldn't just be just anybody. You couldn't be smoking crack or doing crystal meth, although that changed over the years. But at that time when I got initiated, you couldn't be like no child rapist, no rapist at all. As I say, you know, things change as far as when leaders come about, but you really had to know somebody to be involved. You can't just be like, oh well, look, I heard about you. Let me get, you know, associated. Like, nah, man, you really got to know. And then once you clicked in, it's like you can't bring no outsiders. You know what I mean? So even when I got clicked in, I just knew a couple guys, maybe like 3 or 4 out of however many they were. And when I showed up to like a meeting or whatever, everybody's like, man, who's this? You know what I'm saying? Like, they ready to like, hey man, you got to prove yourself. Who are you? You know what I mean? Until somebody speaks up for you. Like, hey, nah, he's cool. So.
Okay. How about you? Put that
Right,
mic
so-
over there.
Yeah, most definitely. So like everything I'm speaking on is pretty much like public, right? So street gang got jumped in. We had to put in work, you know, simple. Jumped in. Once I started getting involved with organized crime, you're gonna have to put work in. It's not no like little, like, you know, when you do something, you got to do something. You know what I'm saying? And they don't just pick up anybody. They got to make sure if you're a soldier, you're a soldier. You know what I'm saying? So the process is like pretty much you're gonna have to have like 3 witnesses to testify. Be like, hey, this guy before he be made. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, yeah. So it's a process. It's definitely you become a prospect for X amount of time. From there, you're gonna have to start punching in, which means out in the streets, you're not just you're a family. It's really a family. You know what I'm saying? So you got to report every week. You got to have a dope house. You got to make money. You got to pay, and then you got to go pick up what you got to pick up from all the other gangs. That if they're selling in our or their territory,
There's an expectation.
there's an expectation. Yeah, there's definitely you
They-
can't just not be.
Did they get that from the Bible? You need 3 witnesses.
Hey, you know what? A lot of that stuff, it's weird, but I feel like you got a covenant that was original, then it's perverted without God, and it becomes a covenant for without God. So I
That's dope.
definitely see the spiritual behind that for sure.
And when you're in the gang, is there like an expectation? Like, you just joined the gang and then, oh, I'm free, I'm cool, I could chill? Or like, was there constant duty? Was there like a real brotherhood, or was there like more behind it?
I remember because of what Forum Park is and the prostitution and the beefing, and so when my neighborhood, what made it so dangerous is because you had prostitution on Bissonnette and you had gangbanging. So the pimps would come from everywhere, like literally all over the town, all over the country. And so the gang members there didn't like that. So it was our job as a little homie to stay on the block. You got to make sure ain't nobody prostituting nobody on the block. That was one of the main things. And if you wasn't seen out there, it was consequences. Like it's called frontlining. You had the front line. You had to show your face. You had to be out there, whether it be smoke with other gangs, whether it be cops, you got to be one of them willing to take it. You feel me?
Yeah, most definitely. And I want to say you got to do your paperwork too. You got to check your paperwork. You ain't no sex offender, rapist, and stuff like that. That was not allowed. And for the gang that I was part of, you have to do time. You just join for like nothing.
I guess La Primera was just so big that it was hard to keep tabs on everybody, man. And it was just at a point in time where people just were getting initiated left and right. And then the ones who got noticed was the ones who putting in work. You know what I mean? The ones who moved up the chain is the ones who putting in work. Because there's a lot of people that were like, yeah, man, I want to be clicked in. I know this guy, And then they click them in and then they never show up. All right, you're just going to be forgot about. But the guys who just moving up the ladder and are earning, stripes in the hood is the ones who really putting in work. The ones who putting in, putting their homeboys on their feet, selling them dope so they can sell dope, you know what I mean, giving everybody guns or whatever, So, yeah, there was a
Expectation.
Expectation.
Sure.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was a brotherhood, right? It was, at the time, it felt real, you know what I'm saying, growing up. Looking for love, my older brothers, 45 years, 19 years locked up, incarcerated, and me I don't have a father, my mom's broken, I'm on my own, I'm a man at 13, so I'm looking for that love, right, and that brotherly love. And my gang is an older gang, so all my homeboys, they're already like 50 and up, most of them. So
You were one of the youngest.
Yeah, I'm one of the youngest one in my old gang, and so brotherhood, man, it looked real, it felt real, you know what I'm saying, but I didn't know anything else, you know what I'm saying. I grew up in a dysfunctional family, so when I was out in the streets doing whatever, you know what I'm saying, there was politics involved, and that's where it got serious, because I'm giving my life, I'm picking up charges for my homeboys and this and that, and some were using dope and robbing the dope house and stuff like that. That's where like reality hit, like okay, I don't think this is a real brotherhood, but it felt real at the time.
At the time, yeah.
So did y'all ever have like, there's so many testimonies from like Mexican Mafia and like Tango Blast and all these gangs, right, that people that are in it and then they get converted or they come out of it and they're like, man, but when I was in it, I had so many doubts. Did you ever get doubts in your mind? Like kind of how you were saying, like, man, this ain't right. Something ain't right about this.
Yeah, no, there's something definitely not right about that, because either you are, you ain't, and this is a principle that Jesus talks about too. You know what I'm saying? Over and over and over again. Either you're with him or you love the world.
Against him, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So even if I had homeboys that like were married and they had girlfriends, or they were reading the Bible, because I also grew up a Satanist too. So I was like, how is that possible? And that was one of the things that we strayed away from reading the Bible or having a woman, like as far as in falling in love, because when it comes time to put in work or something, you're gonna be like, but my kids, but my wife, it's either us, it'll be a distraction. So definitely something ain't right if you're double dipping. And as a matter of fact, Revelation tells us he'd rather you be hot or he'd rather you be cold, but lukewarm, he'll spit us out.
I can't say I regretted it at the time. I was all in. I too was yelling out, I'm the devil's best friend. You know what I'm saying? I'm the devil's right-hand man, going all in. I had the money, the cars, I had the females. I felt like I had it all at one point. It wasn't until, I probably stopped counting like at 21 dead homies. All my right-hand men were getting locked up, and it was like, yo, I got one dead homie over here. Let me go avenge the dead homie or whatever. And then it's like all of a sudden I started having a heart just started seeing so many people that I hurt, and it just someone right about that, right? So that's why I started wanting to make a change. You know what I'm saying? Just seeing so many people that I hurt. I guess that's a regret.
I think what really kind of like while you in it, like these brothers said, you don't really see a lot of the stuff. It's like, first of all, when you're young, your brain not fully developed, so you can't even comprehend and think on a rational level all the way anyway. Mm-hmm. But like, I don't know, the first time I knew something was kind of weird was one of my homies, his mama, seen a crime that one of my other homies did, and she took the stand on my homie, and he got life.
Wow.
And so that split my set down the middle. Like, two of my homies had a fight at the corner store that was my best friends, like, and it was like, dang, something ain't right about this. That was my first time being like, yeah, this is weird. Like, I thought we had a code, like, and it hurt because my homeboy Maniac C got life. Like, that was my boy. And then the person who mama snitched, that was my partner too. And rest in peace, Denzel. He ended up getting killed on the block by a dope fiend. But it kind of hurt me. Like, I didn't really know which way to go. Like, that was the first time I really was at unrest with what I was doing. Like, it was people saying this and saying that. And then the second time was when my set, because like I said, my set switched over. And when it switched from foreign part cripping to tens, not everybody was happy about that. Yeah. And so some people still wanted to be FPC and some people wanted to be tens, and it was another rift. So I was like, man, something's not right. Like, it's just, it feel like it's more so about ego and this and that than anything. And then another unique thing, Trey Nine himself helped us create our own nonprofit on Foreign Park. What? He helped us create our own nonprofit, right? Forever protecting the community. And when it came down to it, it was more so about who's the face of it than helping the people. And that broke my heart. I ain't gonna lie. That really broke my heart. And some people who see this interview probably gonna be mad at me, but something ain't right. But it just like that really hurt my heart though. Like seeing the work that we put in, seeing that, you know, what we was doing on Foreign Park, and then seeing how it fell apart because ego. Yeah. You know, like cornball. It's corny.
You want to know something else that kind of didn't sit right with me, man? You know, I was hustling. I was putting all my boys down. I was selling the guns, and it was a point in time where I was selling a lot of Xanax to my own homies. And when they pop these Xanax, man, they go and do the most absurd things. And when they end up going to jail with the pistol I sold them, the Xanax I sold them, and I was like, man, if I didn't sell them that, they wouldn't even be in the jail cell. They wouldn't be, you know, murdering somebody or whatever the case was. It was like, man, I felt kind of responsible, although, you know, every man is his own man. Sure. That was the influence for the action that they took, and that just didn't sit right with me.
Yeah, to be fair, you know, and most people won't take this view. I'm kind of one of those mercy grace guys versus judgment condemnation. And just to be fair, through my journey of discipleship with guys who come from hard places, it's like it takes a lot of time to renew the mind in a way that guys can actually get out of ego, out of self, come to a point where it's like taking on a whole new identity when you didn't really have a mom and a dad to give you the true identity and the true love that a nuclear family brings. And so I try to exercise a lot of patience. Now there's some guys that wear me out and I'm like, I can't do anything. I've tried everything. But for the most part, you know.
Yeah, sorry, Trey. Sorry.
Yeah, for the most part, it's a process. And anybody that's coming out of that life, we realize it's going to be some work, you know.
And I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to add to what I was saying earlier. So my story is a little bit unique because I walked away from my gang when I was 21 years old. I got saved, got in the church, but then I started going to a church, and my pastor went to jail for messing with two little girls. Oh my gosh. He got 40 years in prison. So that automatically, the little Christ I had in me, I'd rather be in the streets because at least they real. They ain't touching little kids and this weirdo stuff. So I went back to prison after I had already said I'm done with the streets because of what happened in the church.
Wow.
And the last time I went to prison is when I really got serious about God.
Okay, so that's where I wanted to go next. Because something ain't right about you guys being a part affiliated with something, and then now you're here talking about I'm not in it no more. I'm not that no more. Now I know some guys that become Christian that are still they never really denounce. They just kind of got out here and wanted to rock with the church people, so they wouldn't have to go do that, but they never officially exited. And so you guys are here saying I'm not a part of that no more. A lot of people that are really green think you basically will get a death sentence if you try to leave that. So what is the exit? What was the exit for you guys? How did you exit? If it was, I gave my life to Christ, and then say that. But if it was something else like what you just said, because if you left, got saved, and like I'm out, but then you come back to prison, now you back in because you need protection or whatever, I hear that's fraud, and you're gonna get in some trouble for that.
When I first started following Christ, it was kind of like, I think it was Boys in the Hood, where they had the Muslim guy riding in the back of the Impala trying to tell him, hey, yo, you know what I'm saying? This
Sharif.
is not the way. Yeah, Sharif. I was that guy. I was like, right there, hey, man, you know what I'm saying? We should go, you know, try to follow, you know what I'm saying, Christ, even though I was still, because in order to get clicked out of the gang, I mean, you going to get either very hurt or you going to die. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't no official, like, but the OGs did come tell me, you know, whatever, we're at the same level, whatever you want to call it. They did come and say, hey, man, I respect what you're doing, man. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing what you're doing. So it was more like of a permission type of thing.
Okay.
More of an acceptance type of thing. So it wasn't like, you know, I just completely got out, because at first it was more, I found Christ. I want them to find Christ.
Okay.
I want to bring as many as them to the light, because I got so much love for them. Like, even to this day, I run into the barbershop or whatever, and they see me, hey, man, good job, bro, man. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of what you're doing. And
How do they know what you're doing?
Man, it's just, I'm not like Trey 9 every day posting, you know what I'm saying? But I do post every now and then, and they see what I do.
So they watch you.
And they watching, you know, and I mean, they watching from California, come to find out, you know what I mean? That
If you started wilding out again, would that be a problem for them? Or are you
probably what they want?
You've been distant so long enough.
I mean, what they tell me is like, hey, you know, you put in so much work, homeboy, you ain't even got to worry about this no more.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? I said, man, respect. You found God. This, you know, do you, man, and we proud of you. You know what I mean?
That's good.
See,
that's what people don't understand, is like there is a sense of honor and respect.
Now, I speak that for my clique, or the clique, you know, the clique. But there are cliques out here that's ran by Satan himself. You know what I'm saying? Like MS-13,
which is why they're
Zetas and all them. And the core of that is Satan. You know what I mean? And I don't know how they would take it if you go to Christ.
All right.
I'm speaking for this, you know what I'm saying, side of the fence where, you know, we're allowed to have our own stance and things.
Move on with your life.
As long as it's not, oh, you hop to this next clique.
Okay.
Right.
Or you still dope dealing on the hood, and, you know, you still trying to have us have your back, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, you don't want to come around no more, but you want to call us when things go south. Like, nah, like, you really got to be about that life.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure, man. I'll definitely speak on that, because it's really hard, because you know, this is a life or death situation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Either you're in or you're not. So there's no way out, right? It's like blood in, blood out type of situation and stuff. So the moment that I didn't come to Christ and then leave the gang, I was still a Satanist, and I was like, you know what, I want nothing to do with this, because I had picked up aggravated assaults on the COs. I had done a lot of stuff that ended me up in SEG, and then there was a lot of politics going on. The guy who made me killed my other homeboy who didn't have permission to kill him, and so there was a whole bunch of politics happening in this situation. So, you know, this other guy that was my neighbor, it just happened to be, had the green light. The kite comes in, you know what I'm saying, got to practice with the, you know what I'm saying, the bow and arrow. You know what I mean? And it's nothing like, so I get the kite and I'm just like, I had that something ain't right moment, you know what I'm saying? Because I ride a kite and be like, hey, look, I picked up time. I'm up 6 months out. Because my homeboys, they got life sentence, multiple life sentences. They got 30 years. They've been in seg for 30 years, you know what I'm saying? And they're like, hey, you need to do this and you need to do it right. Nothing like, chafa, I don't know how to say that in English, but nothing like,
Sloppy.
nothing sloppy, nothing weak. You know what I'm saying? You're going to hit them. You're going to hit them hard. And so I rode a kite. And by the grace of God, because I have like a lot of family that's still involved, rank, no name dropping and stuff like that. But we had direct line with couples and stuff, and my track record. You know what I'm saying? And so basically, none of them, like, they all wanted me to get a green light. By the grace of God, my OG was there, and they all voted. And basically, because of my cousins, my family, and everybody else, and my track record, you know what I'm saying, I was given a green pass, but not to become a Christian, just left because I was like, man, I'm on my way home.
Okay.
Like, why would I do this? You know, over spilled coffee, over some, like, gambling debt, like $2 or $3, some soups and chips and stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, this is where you guys live. I'm more beneficial in the world.
Okay.
So basically, that was my green pass. But a lot of my homeboys that are closer to my age, sometimes they see me and they're like, hey, man, you need to fix your stuff. You need da. But when they find out about me, they're like, they have a lot of respect for me. Now I have a lot of my homeboys that are ex, and some that have been given the permission are getting discipled right now as we speak, and have came to Christ and stuff.
That's great. That's good. See, to me, that's good stuff, you know, that you can have honor like that, you know. And, you know, how was it for you with the exit, and how does that work?
At the mission center that you see behind me, many years of missionaries coming to serve here, young people from Worthing High School down the street coming to be introduced to Jesus through things like podcasting, studio, art, dance. Now we can take that to the next level and have sports, basketball, soccer, football, and things like that. In the future, hopefully, we can have a trade program and a talent development program. This only happens through the volunteerism that comes from you and the donations that come from you. We are halfway funded for this project, so if you know anyone with a heart for the underserved community of Sunnyside that wants to make a difference in the lives of young people as well as adults, then please consider donating to the Sunnyside Dreams Mission Project so we can meet our goal, develop the new community center in full, and make this a better place. Sunnyside is where it's at.
The first time I started talking about it, everybody was looking at me crazy, like, what? You? Like, well, God. Like, they wasn't trying to hear that. So then when I came back and I was like, well, really just, like, opened my eyes, I saw that a lot of people I was looking up to was caught up in the same cycle as me. Like, my big homies was getting out of prison for doing 10, 15, 20 years and catching new cases again. Like, I'm like, these the people I'm looking up to? Like, you just got out of prison and you out on bond and I'm supposed to be filing. It's just like, I just woke up, like, and just so happened that my big homie who I was directly under, he like my brother. So, and his mom used to be a pastor. So when I started talking about it, he was like, he wasn't really all the way down, but he was like, we'll see. But when they started seeing what I was really doing and I was really doing what I said I was going to do, because like Scar said, this life or death, you ain't just getting out of a gang and just going, like, if I was going to another clique, I'd probably be smoked by now. Yeah. Like, if I was doing anything other than what I said I was going to do, I'd probably be out of here. But because I really, and nobody from where I'm from ever did that, they still looking at me till this day like, is he serious? Is he really on it? Like, they still watch. It's still people who watch me till this day. And some of them watch me like a hope. Like, they were too prideful to say that, but it's some big homies who still watch my page every day to see what I got going.
Yeah, I didn't realize at the time. I didn't realize you were really in the transition when I started fooling with you, right?
Right.
You were kind of there, and then, like you said, you invited me to these brothers who wanted to start the nonprofit. And when I met with them, I wasn't thinking, you know, okay, I'm meeting.
Yeah, they like some of the leaders.
To those brothers, salute. I mean, you know, hey, they were real cool with me, and they have good intentions to help.
It was serious, and they already saw on Forum Park what you were doing, and they saw it was real. So they knew it wasn't like, oh, he just out here trying to, he's
exploit
scared.
people.
I ain't never told on nobody.
Yeah.
I ain't running from nobody. I ain't snitch on nobody. I ain't none of that. So it ain't like I got no paperwork on me, so if I did have some of those things, it'd probably be different.
Yeah.
But when they seen that, oh, this man really want to do something for the neighborhood. He really brought it back for him. He really out here
trying to
bring it back to where he from. So that I feel like your intentions, like Scar, it got to be real, man. You can't just be out here saying, I want to get out. Nah, bro. Like, it have to be like for real. You really were waking up. Because there's a lot of people I know who went to different gangs and all that. Like they don't have the same respect. You know what I mean? Like,
but hey, before you ask that question, what crimes did you commit that you got away with? That you
I can't talk about
I had to loosen the room just a little bit. Okay.
Hey, Derek said to Derek Wyatt, man, he told me to plead the fifth on that one. Right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, I'm just messing with y'all. Go ahead.
No, so what happens to somebody who wants to leave the gang but doesn't follow the proper exit process?
Yeah, that's the green light. That's basically what we were talking about right now. Like, you can leave on good terms, but I never snitched. Yeah, on God terms. You got no, so you didn't snitch on nobody. You didn't owe money, and you didn't sleep with a homeboy's or wife or anything like that. There, so definitely when those are like
no deal.
No deal. You're that's it. You know what I'm saying? So that would be in bad terms.
On this side, that's the only exit strategy. They don't care if you got a wife and kids. Like, hey man, you bring your son along and get on this clique. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, the only way is the exit way is God. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't understand that at first. I really just genuinely found God in my darkness, and I prayed for God to pull me out of that darkness, man. But it wasn't like I was looking for God as an exit plan. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because even then, they'll see that too. Like, hey, homeboy, you trying to see that as a way out? Mm-hmm. They look at that as a weakness. You know what I'm saying? And they going, it's like like a lion. They smell blood, they finna go in. You know what I mean? But if you leave for any other reason, or you over there, you get caught with another paño, another colored flag, then they finna go in. This is the only way out.
I wanted to piggyback on what Scar was saying. Like, it has to be like the right way. You can't just, like, I ain't gonna lie. My big homie, he did ask me to do something for him before I left though. Mm-hmm. Like, he asked me to do something for him, and I did it. Mm-hmm. I did it. And so he was kind of like, if you do this, I ain't gonna trip. So I did it. It was just giving him a plug.
Yeah.
It wasn't nothing crazy. I just gave him a plug because I was connected with some people, and I gave him the plug.
Okay.
But it wasn't, even if I didn't do it, I don't think he still would have tripped. I just think he was like, man, I need this before you go. You know what I mean? Like, because I was never a dope dealer. I just was cool with people.
Okay.
So he was like, oh, you cool with them dudes over there? Connect me with them. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, cool.
Yeah,
I don't sell drugs.
Like I mentioned earlier, one thing that they did emphasize on many times is, nah, homie, you put in work, dog. You go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like you can't just be no regular whatever and not do nothing, and then they just gonna be like, nah, yeah, you good. Nah, they're like, hey, you put in that work, you earned your way, basically, to that state.
So here's one of the things I noticed, just being in ministry, never being associated with any gang at all personally, but dealing with a lot of guys coming from gangs and people still in gangs, is, can you really be both? Can you be affiliated with a gang and be a Christian and have allegiance to a gang or STG and be a Christian? Because that's what you guys are now. You're Christians, and your allegiance is to Christ. And you've kind of made it clear that I have been removed from that. But can people still do both?
So really, when I first got involved with DTS, I was still kind of involved in the game.
Okay.
Like, I was still actively going to meetings.
DTS is Disciple of the Streets,
I'm sorry.
which is a Christian-based,
it's a Christian organization, faith-based.
Yeah.
With Trey. And so
how long ago was that?
This was like in 2021,
Okay.
2021.
So you might be one of the first active gang members to join DTS. We
I
just
never
discovered
knew
that. All right,
That's
go
how I
ahead.
was able to do some of the things on Foreign Park that I was able to do.
Right.
And talk to some of the people because we was still, but it was more so like we was trying to move it forward though.
Yeah, I got you.
But I still had to be involved, like, because my block, like, if you're not showing up and they're not seeing your face on a regular basis, you're disassociated. It don't matter how long you've been down, none of that. Yeah. If you're not active right now and you're not coming to the block, if you're not showing your face, that's how it was at the time. So it was like, it don't matter if you've been around 20 years. If you're not here now, then you're, so it was kind of like, okay, I was trying to still, and it was like an identity issue. You know what I mean? Like, I still had my flags, but it was just this, I think, when you're in a gang and you're a part of something so long and then that's all you know, when it's stripped from you, you feel like, okay, who am I? Apart from this, you don't know who you are. So it's a process of discovering who you are. Even knowing your identity in Christ, you still have to discover that individually. You have to, it has to be real to you.
That's right.
Or it's just going to be something in the book.
And you'll maybe compromise. You'll be both. You'll stay in this space of I'm this, but I'm this. And then, like you said earlier, you came around church people and got totally let down, because even in like DTS is really the church. We're the body of Christ trying to honor a biblical covenant. We're not trying to be a separate group, a separate clique. Definitely not any type of gang. It's just a way to say, hey, I'm associated with a group of people that love God and love taking the gospel to the streets. And I don't care if it's the gutter or if it's the suburbs, just taking it to the streets. And how do you guys feel about people who are trying to play both sides? Is that cool? Is that permissible?
Absolutely not. That's what I would say, because there are a couple people over back at hometown that are still like, oh, I'm still this, but I'm an ambassador. And I was like, no, you're not. You know what I'm saying? So to answer it simply, absolutely not. And Jesus didn't have a hard time saying that either. Either you love him and hate the world, or hate the world and love him. So
You can't serve two masters.
And contradicting values, right?
Contradicting values.
Right.
So as I mentioned earlier, I was what's that guy's name? Sharif, right? I was riding with the homeboys, you know what I'm saying? I was still repping my colors. I was still, you know what I'm saying, because I wanted them to come along with me. But the fact was that when I found myself with them, riding with them, while I'm trying to do good, things would pop off. And guess where I'm at? I'm behind a weapon or something, trying to put in work along. Like, even though I didn't want to, I was back against the wall. If I didn't go in, then they finna go in on me. So, you can't live lukewarm. You know what I'm saying? You can't. And for a long time, even with drugs, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like, I could smoke weed and serve the Lord too. You know what I'm saying? But you really ain't clear-minded at that point. So, drugs, gangs, whatever it may be, you have to drop it all if you really want to go in with God, man. And if you're trying to serve the dark side and this side, most likely you finna get sucked into that darkness.
But what if it's a prison gang only? Because if you're a prison, you could be a part of that prison gang, come out here and be like, oh, well, I'm done. You become a Christian, you get saved, but then you commit a crime or violate parole or get caught with some weed or something, even though you're a Christian, right? And then you go back and you're automatically back in, right? Because you never went to the yard, you never denounced it, you never told them I'm out, because you didn't have to. You got out of prison. So what about those guys? Should they have denounced it? Should they have went to the yard and told the guys, hey, I'm following Jesus? Because I do know some that did, and then I know some that never did. So it's kind of like, is that like playing it safe?
I mean, there's definitely wisdom in that, you know what I'm saying? If you're truly trying to follow Jesus, like, you know what I'm saying, you just slide on back. You don't have to, you know what I'm saying? But for myself, you know what I'm saying, I'm a real, like, on the table, like, this is who I am. I'm like, hey, but when I left the gang, I didn't go to Jesus. I didn't go to, like, I just did my own thing. You know what I'm saying? I was still in charge of money and stuff like that, but I didn't have no protection. Like, if I was going to get in a fight or I'm getting jumped, there's nobody there to help me. It was on my own. It was just about money.
I know I have a gang tattoo going down my side, so if I went in, like, the first time I went to prison, I was banging, but the second time I went, I let them know. I ain't down. And so they respected it. Like
You don't have to remove that.
No.
You don't have to remove
Because
that.
they want to know if you really was a real
Well, what
Crip.
if-
So they're going to hit me up and ask me, like, gang knowledge. They care more about me being authentic than me.
Yeah.
Because they know if I was a real one and I'm saying this, then they like, all right, it's cool. Like,
But if
I
you
got it on my side in prison, so I couldn't have been scared. I literally
Yeah.
got the tattoo in prison.
But if you had a mark on your face of a particular gang, wouldn't it be important to remove that?
Yes. Well, I would say. I can't speak for every
If you
gang.
take your hat off, you have affiliated tattoos?
Like, everything that's on my body is
His whole body?
affiliated. Yeah, so I definitely cannot be in certain yards and stuff. And my gang is, or my old gang was is definitely an old school gang. It's definitely if you can't make it in population, your security threat group. That's why if something happens, they remove us and they put us in AgSec. They don't put anybody else in solitary confinement because they're not that big of a threat. They're more worried about somebody's head being chopped off or getting shanked or something like that. And what was the original question?
About tattoos having to be removed.
So I cannot make it like it go. If I go there, every single gang's gonna know who I am automatically. So it's very important, especially for myself individually. Like, hey, this is who I am. This is my paperwork. This is who I ran with. You know what I'm saying? Go to this unit, to this person and that, and you know what I'm saying? I like to do things the right way, so I definitely, it's very important. I can't remove every single tattoo. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
Do you ever plan on removing them, or
Go
do you
black
want
out.
to?
No, not even. I
No.
don't plan to. Maybe the ones on my face, you know what I'm saying? Because I think when I get old, it's gonna kind of look kind of crazy.
But it's not like it's not priority for you to be like, I need to take them off.
Not at this
Because
point.
you go down to Juarez, Mexico,
Yeah.
you go to all these places.
And it's
Yeah.
a serious thing when he goes, right? Because you got to cover up. At first, he used to go dressed like a Muslim going to jihad. All you see is his eyes.
Yeah, no, definitely. So now we're talking about the Mexico side of things. Okay, so in Juarez, there's actually like the guys from that side of the border and the guys on this side of the border really don't get along for certain reasons, right? Because over here they're like, you got the government, you got the United States government giving you life sentences, RICO Act, back to back, gang round. You're doing time. Over there in Juarez, you know what I'm saying, Mexico, you kill somebody, you just go to the slammer, and you can still do hits. You're still running, you're still selling. You know what I'm saying? So it's more different there. So they like to call us snitches over here because there was definitely people confident. What is it? CIs, the
Confidential
informants and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And but because you got the United States government putting pressure on these people, and they'll break you. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody did, but I'm just saying it's more likely to be broken here than you live over here in this world where there's no really consequences for killing somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Over here, they're going to put you in solitary confinement for life, and that's pretty crazy.
And pretty crazy stories. I have a question. What's something about like your former gang life, like that people would judge you on that they would never understand though?
Want to try that one first?
He's like, let me think about it.
There's
Yeah,
a
well,
lot.
yeah, and this
There's a
question
lot.
is kind of like most people that are unfamiliar with the streets or the background you come from, the family life, don't really care. They just see gangs, you're bad people,
Yeah.
you throw them up, lock them up, throw away the key. But what's something they might be missing and not understand about gangs? Because I understand why young people are joining gangs. But there's a lot of people that don't understand. Why? Because they don't get to meet you guys. They don't get to hear your stories. They don't get to know that. So if there's anything you could share with someone who's greener than me.
Well, first, like, you know what I'm saying, coming from a spiritual sense is to realize that we all had a spiritual blindness at one point in our lives, right? What seemed real, what shined, wasn't really gold. You know what I'm saying? It's an illusion. You know what I'm saying? Growing up with the Tupacs, the Eazy-E's, Biggie's, and it glorified it. So I'm like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it programmed me. It programmed me to think a certain way. My mentors, the people I looked up to, like my oldest brother is like a father to me. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to be that. So it's an illusion, but I'm not over here like talking like as if I'm better now. I'm looking down. I understand that there's a spiritual blindness that needs to be removed that only the Holy Spirit can do. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen it over. What I thought was impossible, God's made very possible over and over and over and over and over again. And so, I would say, pray for him. Understand that it's the Spirit and that there's a war happening. We're not in a playground, that's for sure. And it's a spiritual war. You know what I mean? And my thing would be is love, because love covers everything. Love, that's the essence of God, love.
Yeah.
And if we're made in his image, you know what I'm saying, we have that same power that comes from him. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? So, love.
It's crazy because when you ask that question, me being where I am, even being an adult and being, I can easily look at one of those young guys who are 17 and be like, you're wrong. But I was once that dude.
That's right.
Like, I don't ever want to forget that I was that guy.
Yeah.
Because it's easy for me to say, oh, you should stop this. It wasn't that easy for me. I'm not the person who got saved and then everything fell in place. No, I went back to prison after getting saved. So I think it's really more so like people don't understand how hard it is for somebody who grew up without family, who grew up without confidence, who grew up without all this, and then somebody say, hey, we'll accept you. Just go do this. You're going to go to the max for that. You're going to do whatever you can, you know, because you want to feel that love. You can't tell somebody who grew up seeing their mom get beat on every day, then this game protected them, oh, you need to stop that. You don't have the answers. You're not qualified to speak on that. You can't tell, like some people, they just don't understand how deep some of this stuff goes. It ain't like somebody just wake up and be like, oh, I want to be in the game.
Yeah.
That person is probably scared, hurting. Like me, when I joined the game, when I came outside, people was banging on me. It wasn't no, like, they was like, so whoop, as soon as I came outside. Me and my brothers was walking from, and we in middle school, like, we not trying to join the game. It was already pressed on us. So we was like, okay, we don't like y'all, so we going to join the other game. And then see how tough y'all is. That's how it was for us. Like, it wasn't no, like, we're going to just go. We felt, it was me, my mom, and my two little brothers. We didn't have no extra protection. So when I come outside, I'm the oldest one. I'm making sure my brothers get home. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Survival.
a lot of times it's just survival. It's not even like, oh, yeah, we're going to join the gang and we're going to be the best. No, it's day-to-day living. And sometimes, like, you know, I work for a Harris County law firm. A lot of these guys.
What?
I work for Harris
You work
County.
for the laws?
I don't work for the sheriff's office. I work for a law firm. But we serve the indigent guys in Harris County who go to jail. And a lot of these guys are in gangs. They're in the streets. And and the reason why my position even exists, because there's a gap between the attorneys and the people they serve. They don't even understand a lot of the times what's going on, or how to reach them, or how to talk to them, or how their lives have become what it is. But I can better do that because I know. I've been to prison. You know what I'm saying? And so it's more so just like you have to have a heart and you have to want to understand. Because if you're looking from a million miles away, you're not going to understand it.
Yeah.
It's easy for me to talk crap about people, there's stuff going on in Costa Rica and El Salvador and being in America. Oh, y'all need to get it together. But you don't really know how deep that corruption goes. You don't really know, you know what I'm saying, what's really going on.
So what you're saying is people need to do their research. They need to understand.
Or just come out here and help.
Yeah.
Just come out here and
That's
help
right.
these guys. You know what I mean? Like,
That's right.
It's easy to say, oh, you know, stop, man. Be there to help them.
Be there to help.
Help them.
Especially in a society where we live, it's like individualism. You know what I'm saying? People don't even know their neighbors. They go to work, go park their car in the garage, and that's it. You do it all over again.
Now, I know people, me for instance, I was so much in the dark that even if somebody did try to help, I'd be like, say, man, I don't want your help. You know what I'm saying? I'm right here. I'm where I'm at. I'm where I want to be. I'm putting in this work, you know what I'm saying, for my homeboy, whatever. So, like, for instance, if you were to approach me back then and I was in the streets doing my thing, I wasn't going to pay you no respect. I'd have been like, say, man, you get away from my face. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to do me. I'm where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I'll attest to that, too, because the same thing with me was, you know, Kairos up in Robertson unit come around, Telford unit, they came around. And I'll be like, man, get that out of it. Like, they try to give me free deodorant, free everything else. I'll be like, hell, Satan, get out of, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want none of that. It had nothing to do. So when you were talking, it came to my mind, like, and what you were saying earlier, love, man. People had to love on me regardless. You know what I'm saying? Jesus got persecuted. Don't take things personal and just keep praying. If it's possible, if to change us, you know what I'm saying? It's possible for anybody. You know what I'm saying?
It's good.
So,
I would have been a red on your
You would have been red light. You would have rejected Christ. That just means he would have rejected Christ if I would have went up to
Shared
him.
the gospel.
And I've had that happen many times from gang members, you know. So
which requires a lot of fasting and praying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So, like, when you look at the media right now, you can see like a lot of rappers been killed, right? And it's on camera. And like, I got a cousin. He did like 12 years, and he was in that gang life. He's been homeless for like 8 years, right? And it's like what all that led to, right? So it's like looking back, what's like the biggest lie that you feel that gang culture gives young people?
Man, definitely. It's an illusion. It's definitely an illusion. It ain't not everything that shines is gold. That's for sure. Like everything at the surface level doesn't mean it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's one advice that I would give anybody about the gang culture. You know,
when you say it's an illusion, if I was a gang, I might take that as an insult.
right, of course.
But what you mean is that
it's a Peter
it
moment.
seems like something to go after
Right.
because it gives you family, it gives you support, it gives you status.
Emotional.
But that does have a breaking point, I guess.
Right.
The other side to it.
Right.
And I want to say, in my opinion, when gangbanging became fashionable, it completely destroyed. And I'm not saying it was good before that, but whenever it became marketable to be in a gang, like the Eazy-E's, even back in the 80s, like when it became like cool, gangster became cool, that's when the real corruption started. Because you got a lot of people who really just in a gang just because it's fashionable. Whenever you get into anything with the wrong intentions, it's automatically going to be wrong. Not saying that there's any good intentions by getting a gang, but making gangbanging like fashionable and mainstream, that definitely destroyed the culture.
That's when you see a lot of suburban kids packing
It's
guns
weird.
and
It's
doing
weird.
crazy stuff.
It's real weird.
They got a nice home life,
Yeah.
but now they got this flag, and it's like, I'm gonna be like what I saw the rapper do, or I'm gonna be like them boys in the hood. And that to me is what was the danger for suburban kids.
It's definitely like you know, psychology teaches that, you know, humans do certain things for certain reasons, right? To love, to feel important, and have variety in our minds. So one of those things, the reasons that we do things is because we feel important, we feel validated, we feel loved, or we're just trying to love somebody and stuff like that. So when I'm speaking back what you said, like, it could be taken as an insult, you know what I'm saying? Right. So I'm glad that you touched on that, because what I'm trying to say and articulate is pretty much is like a Peter moment. Peter wanted to love Jesus in a human way by cutting that dude's ear. He wanted to protect him, right? But
With good intention.
With good intentions, you know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not speaking in a condemning way either, because we were once lost. We were once in that mud. We were in that. You know what I mean? So, what I am saying is that everything that seems real isn't. And if you want something real, look for eternal things, because everything on this earth is going to perish.
Temporal.
It's going to die.
So for me was, we gonna ride for you, homie.
Man,
what
that's
saying?
a big one.
Why y'all laughing?
That's
Why
the
y'all
biggest
laughing?
one.
I was about to sign up right now.
That's the biggest one.
Hey, it's that we gonna ride for you. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna ride or die. But then, this is what I say always: the more people you associate with, the more chances you got of getting screwed over. You know what I'm saying? Especially in that dark life. So the more homeboys I had, coming in my home, the more things I had missing from my house. You know what I'm saying? The more people I'm up against, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was 8 against 30 one time, and we all got down, but then there was 8 against 30, and then I was left alone at times too.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So they're all your dogs. They're going to ride for you. They're going to ride or die for you, and then you got the rest of them that just going to flake, and they're going to be leaving you alone, out to dry, out to die. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's the biggest misconception out there.
Hit that on the head. I ain't got nothing to add to that.
I've learned a little bit about the streets over my years in ministry. one of the terms that comes to mind is crash dummies. So, does everybody start out as a crash dummy at some point? Is everybody?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
foot soldiers. You really trying to literally do anything to prove that you're down. You're a crash dummy by
makes you a
definition.
crash
By definition,
Did
you're a
that
crash
come
dummy.
from like when you see the commercial and they put the dummy in
crash
the
test
car?
dummy?
And
But you know what that is too? It's multiple elements to that too.
Yes.
Because you got big homies who don't want to do the stuff that they telling you to do, or they might even be too coward to do with the stuff that they telling you to do. They're like, man, go take care of this dude, and he been beefing with him. He's scared of this dude, but he wants you to get him out the way.
wow.
Like it's a lot of stuff that goes on with that. You feel me? Like politics,
And you
it's a
gotta
lot of
do it?
stuff. Like, yeah, if you want to be down, you don't have to do it, but you ain't gonna be down.
One of the rules that we had was like, if you're not willing to do it, don't have
Exactly.
another brother do it. You know, what I'm saying?
That's how it's supposed to be, but unfortunately,
The side-
manipulation.
manipulation.
The side I saw to that, for instance, when I got initiated, we were allowed to fight back. I got down, right? I'm taking dudes down with me. But then you got dudes that got initiated and they fold. You know what I'm saying? They ain't trying to fight back. Whatever. When they see weakness and they see fear, those are the guys that finna be the crash dummies. But when you got heart and ain't no fear in there, they really just gonna hold you up to a higher standard. They're gonna hold you up on a pedestal somewhat, for lack of a better word, right?
Yeah,
But they gonna see it, you know what I'm saying, and they're gonna call you out on it, or they gonna praise you for it, you know what I'm saying, depending on where you at.
So, I can't help but think about all that y'all been through: stabbings, riots, being shot, multiple fights, the head trauma. You know, when you think of a boxer, he gets a lot of head trauma. A lot of them lose their speech. Guys who come back from war, because you've been in wars, PTSD, anxiety, depression. There's some guys I meet with, they can't even sit with their back to the door. They want to sit on the other side so they can see the door because of some of the things they've been through. And I notice over time, you know, things do get better, but we talked about young people looking up to gangs and saying, I want to be that. But what about the consequences? What do you live with today as a result of what you've been through? And feel free, if you want to say something to the camera, to those who are considering it, go for it.
Sure.
Did you guys know each other, or did y'all's gangs cross or affiliate, by the way, in any way?
So me and Scar are from A-Leaf, you know. And when I was young, I stayed in a neighborhood called Happy Homes. It's a blood neighborhood. But I was a Crip. Yeah, it was an A-Leaf. And I ended up running into some LPs, some of Scar's gang members, and they pressed me. They was like, are you a blood boo-boo? I was with my kid's mom picking her up from the bus stop. I wasn't on nothing gangster at all. I was by myself, and they basically pressed me. I guess they thought I was a blood, but I really was being serious. I'm not a blood.
Yeah.
But they wasn't having it, so they was trying to jump me. So needless to say, I held my own. Woo, two of them, I got the best two of them. The third one was a little big. We kind of, woo, woo, woo. But it was to the point where they was like, okay, somebody dying tonight. So they left and came back, right? So when they leave and they come back, I go leave and I go tell my homies, hey, man, somebody just jumped me. Well, y'all come with me. So we go back to the same spot where I had just had the fight, right? Well, I'm talking, woo, 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 woo. And so I see a white Suburban coming, and it turned the corner. But the Suburban waits until it passes me. We don't know what's going on. And so I just start hearing, pock, 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 pock. So by then, I'm like, oh, that's them. So I'm like, man, I'm talking crap. I'm like, man, y'all get out the car. Y'all do. Not even knowing I just got shot.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, wow.
By his
Yeah,
gang.
I did not know, because it was so
Where'd you get
far.
shot? Where'd you get shot at?
Right here in my shoulder. The bullet went in right here and stopped. Like, it's weird. It went in, hit my bone, and then stopped right there. You can literally see the bullet. But it was to the point where I didn't know I was shot. Long story short, I had looked at my hoodie and seen a hole in it and a small blood spatter. So I was like, what the heck? So I took my hoodie off and I seen the hole. I was like, I got shot. And it was to the point where people didn't even believe me, because I was just like, I just got shot. Like, I couldn't even believe it. And
So
long story short,
does those types of incidents happen all the time for a lot of people in the streets now? Maybe you guys.
Yeah.
And so, do you live with after effects? Has it mentally? Does it carry forward? What do you have? What are some of those consequences?
I mean, me, myself, I've been shot 4 times, been stabbed twice. I got 4 bottles broken over my head. I've been beat with brass knuckles. And honestly, I mean, it ain't. I don't know. It ain't pride and it ain't none of that, man. But I never really like heard something pop and think, oh, a gunshot. None of that. But what I can say is, when I did transition into this, into the light, I did have a run-in with some rival gang members, like at a restaurant or at my job or whatever, where they'll come in and, and they'll be like, hey, you Mr. O? And if you got to ask me, that means you don't know me really. Mm-hmm. And then, I take a step back. I'm like getting ready for whatever, because at that time, I'm still like, man, I still got to hold my own. I ain't going to let nobody kill me, you know what I'm saying? And they like, yeah, man, you don't remember you and what's his name pulled out a 12 gauge on me? And I was like, oh, wait, it's going down. And then I was like, nah, homeboy. And he was like, nah, it ain't no beef. He's like, I just wanna tell you, man, that I'm trying to change my life too. Mm. And I was like, yo, I thought I was about to get down in his restroom, you know what I'm saying? But he extended his hand, you know what I'm saying? Show love, and it was like, and still to this day, like I got my set on my arms, and I do outreaches in the rival gang members' territory. So yeah, the first few times I was out there, it's like, man, these boys finna call me out. I'm finna get shot. I'm finna, you know what I'm saying? I'm finna die over something that I left behind. But in the end, I'm gonna die for Christ. You know what I'm saying?
So you're going to rival gang territory, taking a chance with your life that they might not know you're changed. They just know who you were, or they see the tattoos, and that's your way of offering your body as a living sacrifice to God, holy. That's worship, bro.
Hey, I was ready, but
I remember you telling me though, like, bro, this is scary for me a little bit because this is my right. But you did it. Bro. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Nah, man.
I am too.
But by the grace of God, man, I really feel like, man, he blinded these people from my tattoos and from who I used to be, because I seen the rivals right in front of me, 4, 5 deep, 6 deep. And I'm out there, feeding their neighborhood, their families.
On the mic.
Clothes, on the mic. You know what I'm saying? Speaking about God. And in the end, again, one of them approached me, extended his hand and said, hey, respect, bro. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? So
people need to hear that. People need to hear that. They need to know that there is a person there.
Next thing you know, he's at Bible study, and I'm reading the Bible to him among other kids and stuff. And that's where the Bible talking about pray for your enemies. And that's what I plan to do for the rest of my life.
Hey guys, I'm excited to tell you about the Equipped app. It's free with Apple and Android.
Get ready to revolutionize your junior high and high school experience with this app called Equipped.
This dynamic platform is designed for students from 6th grade to seniors, offering a unique blend of inspiring hip-hop featuring awesome Christian artists who share powerful messages.
Access to titles of amazing books that will spark your growth.
Mental health support, healthy tips, and advice to navigate life's challenges.
Worship music that's relevant for you.
Motivational speakers with uplifting messages from your favorite role models.
Parents, you will love it for your kids.
Again, it's free because the Equipped team wants you to have our messages forever. Again, it's free.
Now, I just went to Chick-fil-A and I saw it with you, and you sat on, you were good. You didn't care about where you sat. Yeah. I asked you, though, where you want to sit, bro? You want to sit with?
No, it took a while, though. It took a long time. Even as a believer, and I was already doing a lot of really good stuff in prison, stopping fights and everything like that. When I transitioned to the world, though, I almost killed somebody right off the muscle within 3 weeks of being released.
Cops are hearing, bro.
Yeah, and
almost.
He's not gonna press charges, right? It already passed and things got amended. But my psyche just, I'm in survival mode. I'm like, you're not gonna get me. I'm gonna get you before you get me. And mind you, I'm still was like maybe like 5 years into walking with Christ and barely transitioning from in there to the world. You know what I mean? And so, I've been busted up, like my whole head been busted up. I had brain hemorrhages, concussions. I've been stabbed 7 times, punctured my lung, ICU for two and a half months. I had to learn how to eat and walk again. I had a neck brace and everything, and a lot of like my memory is crazy. My focus is my orientation. Like I've been out in the world for 5 years, and like I still don't know where I'm at sometimes. You know what I mean? I have to I'm dependent on GPS to help me around. The sleeping is horrible. Like it's just back and forth. When I hear like that, like I get up thinking people are fighting. You know what I mean? Sometimes, but I really have transformed a lot of that out of. Well, God's transformed that out of my life. You know what I mean? But you know, every now and then there, you know, just certain noises. I'm just turn around thinking something. You know what I mean? But it's a lot of suffering and a lot of headaches. I have a headache right now. You know what I mean? Still to this day. And so what I would tell the youth right now, it's a lot of suffering and pain that comes with this lifestyle. There's repercussions for everything you do. You know what I mean? And, you know, I got back pains. I was in a prison riot in Smith unit. You know what I mean? They broke a broomstick about this big on my back. I still got back problems. Broke my arm, chipped my tooth. My ear looked like freaking a golf ball. You know what I mean? And just it's there's repercussions. You know, when I was 17, 21, I thought I was invincible. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm turning 36 or 37 or something like that. But like it's catching up. It's catching up. You know what I mean? Especially I got stabbed in the back and like my left shoulder. Like so that's what it comes with. You're not gonna be young forever.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You're the youngest.
It's crazy because hearing them talk, I had social anxiety for years, man. I didn't even like going out in the restaurants and eating at all. To the point where it would become a problem with me and my lady. She's like, you don't even want to go out to eat. I just didn't feel comfortable in crowded restaurants. Like, I didn't feel comfortable at all. I didn't even want to, like, I'd be like, can we go and just pick up our food? I didn't want to sit. And I definitely didn't want to sit with my back to the door.
Yeah.
Like, just being programmed, like, just, you know, anything can happen. You know what I mean? Like, and so it took a long time in therapy. In 2020, just last year, I started feeling comfortable.
I remember.
And I've been out of prison for like since 2018.
I remember going to the gym with you and working out a few times last year, and you just would get
Flash
angry.
out on people.
Yeah.
Trade no out, man. I'd be like, man, I walked up to two people one time. What y'all got going on? Because I'm on all that.
Right. I
Like,
remember
just
that.
tripping, like,
I remember
Trey
that.
be like, man, what's wrong? Trey, and it was to the point where I was so smooth with it, Trey wouldn't even know what I was doing. I'd just walk off
He thought you were
and
sharing
go
the three
put
circles.
something straight up, like, because I still had some of that in me, like them identity. It don't happen, like it. It takes time, man. Like Trey know firsthand, bro, and I feel so embarrassed. Like, dang.
I remember you.
It happened more than one time too in the gym. It wasn't just once.
Right.
I remember you snapped on one of the brothers.
Yeah, you did.
Something ain't right about that.
You're right.
But it was a growing process, like you said, bro. I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just, because I always had a temper. I was always small, so I always had that book. Like, because in my eyes, a lot of big dudes got passes because they big and people ain't even want no smoke with them. Me, I'm a small dude. I had to check everything.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody gonna look at me and be like, oh, they ain't scared of me. I gotta prove it.
Yeah.
That I'm what I say I am. So I had a lot of fights. Like,
Yeah.
being smaller, and I used to see that in the pen all the time. Dudes would pick and choose their battles. And I used to speak up like, you gonna let this big dude punk you and you ain't gonna say nothing? You ain't no gangster. Don't talk to me. You're not, because gangsters don't pick and choose their battles. They take whatever come. Not if he too big, I'm not gonna fight. No, that's weak. So I always had to fight. Like, being small, nobody never let me make it. And I got beat up a few times.
I'm sure.
A lot of times. My eyebrow in jail, dude split my eye and put my tooth through my lip, and I picked the fight. I called him out and got banged up for it.
I want to add on to the antisocial thing because, you know what? Even when I came over here to DTS, man, it was a lot of the I don't want to talk to nobody. You know what I'm saying? That because our clique was so secluded within each other, like, hey, man, you ULP, homeboy? Oh, nah, you ain't? You need to move around.
Right,
you know what I'm
straight
saying? Like, I'm not finna associate with nobody else.
at all.
So, you know, sharing the 3 circles, it still come a little tough to me. Like I don't want to talk to another person because I don't know. Like it's just something in my head that I don't want to, you know. But hey, God is breaking those barriers down. You know what I'm saying? Real slow, but hey, I got 3 shares in today.
The 3 circles, for the record, the 3 circles is the way we share the gospel. It's a simple, reproducible tool. So these, look, I just want to conclude with these 3 guys. I can certify them as Christian brothers that are living it out. These guys are living it out, and they aren't half stepping. Even when, you know, one of these guys might do something out of anger or do something, their goal is always to get back on track. There are some guys that play games out here that, you know, really didn't change. They don't have any conviction of the Holy Spirit. But the reason I invited you is because you guys are really about this life. There's no question about it. Yeah. And because of that, fruit. Yeah, you have fruit, and you are taking the gospel to the streets. And there's a lot of guys that they look at me and they're like, here's a dude with street cred but no street cred. And it's like, it's because I get to spend my life with people like you that have come from it and have shared your stories with me and have showed me your weaknesses and opened up. Early on when I started this ministry, Hip Hop Hope, in 2008 in 5th Ward, God sent me guys from the roughest backgrounds, from gangs. They know who they are. And they taught me a lot about not judging a book by its cover. They taught me a lot about looking past the surface. And because of that, I'm the man I am today. I don't judge you based on your background. I'm looking at the Christ in you and how you're trying to grow. And it's been a joy. It's been a pleasure walking with you guys and watching you work, watching you put in work for the Lord. I just think about all the guys. This may end up in a prison or not. I don't know, whatever God wants to do. But if it is, those of you that see men like this who give their life to Christ and they want out, I mean, I'm nobody, but I just think, look at how beautiful it is that they're turning their pain into kingdom gain. And if there's guys that are trying to get out and follow Jesus, is it okay to just say, let them walk it out?
Man, I want to touch.
Go ahead.
I want to touch on that because I get a lot of letters from the penitentiary and stuff like that, and you probably heard this too. And this is another reason why I wouldn't want to get rid of my tattoos, because a lot of the times there's already people in there that have tattoos all over their face, and their excuse is like, man, look at me, look at this and that. You know what I'm saying? The reason I did all this, by the way, I was facing a life sentence, so I didn't really care about being in the world. So that's a miracle that I'm out here. But what I want to say is, if I can do it, and God did this, you know what I'm saying, that He can do it for you too, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I was involved in some pretty heavy stuff, you know what I'm saying? And I'm walking in God's grace. You can do it too. Just open your heart, open your mind, ask what's your purpose in life, and ask for the Holy Spirit and Jesus to come into your cell or come talk to you. And also for those people who doubt others, like if your son's involved in something like that there, you know what I mean? Like if your cousin or something like that, keep praying, keep fasting, and God will answer. It's very possible. I've seen so many lives transformed. I've seen some radical stuff from people who've been homosexuals for 30 years. Now they're like living, and I know these people, you know what I'm saying? And I've seen miracles upon miracles upon miracles. Nothing's impossible with God, you know what I'm saying?
Praise God.
So I just want to say, in a gang, in my clique, in the clique that I was a part of, you can't move up the chain without putting in work. That work goes to a very far extent. And I've been redeemed from that, right? So I just want to say, if you think that God can't redeem you, the Bible tells us, hey, us ourselves, we can't do it. But with God, all things are possible. You know what I'm saying? Amen. So I would have never found this community on my own, not my family, not my friends, nobody. But by some miracle from around the country, I got led back to home. Now, if you listening to this and you have nobody, eyes on me, DTS.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I don't think any one of these gentlemen will say no to lending a word at the very least.
Yeah, man. To anybody who is in a gang or, want to get out, I think you should just have the courage. It's hard. It's not gonna be easy, But like my brother Scar said, we here. I'm here. Like if you see this and you find me, you see my name, look me up, hit me up. I'll walk through it with you because you never know the impact you can have. Like when Trey came into the county jail before I was even going to prison, I wasn't facing, I was a true habitual at the time. I didn't know how much time I was going to get. I didn't know. I was 25 to life. I didn't know how much time I was going to get. But those seeds planted ended up bearing fruit when I got out. I ended up getting 8 years, and I got out, and I just decided to take it serious. I ain't going to sit here and say I got it right every time. Trey sit here and told y'all I messed up a lot, But if you keep going and don't fake, man, you don't have no choice but to grow. I done cried a lot of nights. I done got mad. I done wanted to do all kind of stuff. But the growth in it is crazy. Like, my son wanted to be in the game. Mm-hmm. And he 15. He looking at me. But now that he sees that I'm really doing this, he's like, he wouldn't even think about that.
Yeah.
So you never know what example you're setting for the next generation. And even if it's not just your family, whoever may look up to you.
I can't close it any better than that. You heard it from them, brothers who are really walking this life in Christ. And if God is tugging at your heart, why not just say, God, come into my life, be my Lord and Savior. Jesus, forgive me of my sins. And I accept that forgiveness, Jesus, and ask the Holy Spirit to come live in you and guide you like he's guiding these men. I think that's a move and a decision they had to make, and they had to be real about it, and Christ saved them, and now they're walking it out. And so you can do that too. I can't end this on a hype note. That's what it is. What y'all said is, man, anybody can change. Anybody can change, no matter how far you've gone down that hole of sin. These brothers talking street stuff. There's a bunch of greedy, selfish millionaires we could sit at the table, and they could get into their dirt too.
Let's bring them.
But we need to get them on the show.
Something ain't right.
But and we will at Something Ain't Right. So if you would just do us a favor and continue to share this content, like this content, subscribe to this channel. We're going to continue to bring you dynamic, real interviews like this. And we thank y'all for tuning in this week. And we'll see you next time on Something Ain't Right. Peace.
Something ain't right.
What?